What's up, guys? In this video, we'll talk about data and how data is going to help you make more money. Because if you're a coach, consultant, service provider, um, like the biggest priority for you is to track your data. Because if you track your data, you'll be able to make better decisions. And in business, one of the most important things is to not make bad decisions and to figure out what a decision gave you. um, the best way to figure out what a decision gave you is by looking at numbers and tracking whatever is happening in your business. And in this video, I want to show you a couple of systems that I've built and how I'm tracking different parts of my business. And I want to show you a system that I'm building right now for one of my clients, which is posting on IG, right? So I'm also thinking about making something like this for some of my clients that are big on YouTube, because I work with two types of people: people who are YouTubers and people who are Instagrammers, whatever you call them, right? So I want to show you here my cold outreach dashboard, because I started building it maybe like 2 weeks ago, something like that, and I'm still trying to perfect it and whatnot. But sorry for my voice crack. I want to show you how it works, because it might help some of you build dashboards and automations and whatnot. And I want to do like a deep dive into how this system actually works. Okay, so the way I think about it is, in order for me to send cold outreach messages, I need to be able to scrape. Then I need to have a pipeline, and then I have a need to track my numbers to see what's happening, right? So what I have built here is a list of accounts that I'm scraping from. So I thought about, okay, if I help coaches and consultants, who are they most likely to follow, right? This can apply to you if you're a dating coach. This can apply to you if you are a fitness coach. It doesn't really matter, right? So you need to figure out who are the people in your niche that your niche might be following. And these are 52 of them or 51 of them. Every time I see a new one, I'm adding it in here, okay? And what I do is I have multiple Instagram accounts. Can I show you this? Yeah, let me just fucking show you this. I'll show you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have this tool, and I'm basically just having like some burner Instagram accounts that I bought for like $20 each, if I remember correctly. No, $20 for 5 or $25 for 5. And I'm running an extension called Growman, and this extension allows me to scrape uh, people, right? So I get a huge sheet, if that makes sense. And then what I do is I have, oops, not this one. I have a Google Drive. Let me show you this. Called IG Leads, right? So I leave my automation running. It takes usually 3 hours to scrape 500 leads. And then I download the Excel and then I drop it in this drive. And then I have an automation. Let me show you the automation as well. I think this is the one. Yeah. And I have this automation that goes over each Google Sheet that I download. And then I filter these users based on how many followers they have, based on if their profile is private or not. And then I have an AI agent here that is checking if this person is a coach, consultant, or service provider. If they are, then they will go into my followers list. And what's really cool about this is that I can see, for example, this guy Giede Silva. I'm not interested in him. I just put it in there. just 3.79% of the people that are following this dude match my description. So this guy is not so relevant. But if we can look at Ravi Abuvala, 15%, almost 16% of the people that are following him are matching my avatar, which is super interesting. So this guy really knows how to build an audience, and you have to give him props for that. Okay, another guy that is pretty good is this guy, the Harry Needham or something like that. And what's really interesting about this guy actually is that he doesn't post any reels. All he posts is like carousels like this. And it gives you some perspective regarding like what you can do and what you cannot do with content, you know, because maybe you have this belief that if you want to be big on Instagram or whatever, you have to post reels. And it's not. Like, as you can see, probably he has some sort of dashboard for himself where he's tracking what picture is doing what, because you can see he's reusing the same picture with the boxing thing over here as well. And I think he's reusing this picture here and here, right? So probably he has like a content database of like a matrix system. I can talk about that tomorrow, where he's like randomly choosing like the picture and whatnot. Like, this is like a very smart system that he built, right? And that's what I want to show you as well, how I built my outreach system and other couple of systems that I have in my business that I'm creating right now and I'm developing, because this is like the key to a successful business, like having systems that you can rely on and consistently feeding the system with inputs. Okay, so yeah, this is my scraping accounts sheet. Then I have my followers sheet, and as you can see, I'm tracking where each person is coming from, the scrape date, the Instagram that I'm sending messages from, because I have 5 other Instagrams that I'm using for messaging, the DM date, and the DM that I actually sent to them. This is actually created by another automation that I have. Let me show you that. I have another Google Drive where I download an Excel spreadsheet from another Chrome extension, and then I'm uploading that spreadsheet in here. IGDM bot is called. That's the name of the extension. It looks like this. Okay, so I'm uploading that, and then my automation. Again, I have an automation for that because I don't like fucking increasing numbers and shit like that. I fucking hate that with a passion. So I think is this one. So this one is simply, I just dump 4 to 5 Excel spreadsheets in that drive, this DM Analytics drive, and then I'm downloading that file, I'm extracting the data, and then I update these rows from here with whatever message I send and with the message ID. I don't think I need the message ID, but I think I need to delete that in the future. Anyway, and here's my pipeline. And here's where I'm testing messages, right? And I started noticing a couple of things, right? Like, for example, I tried 2 types of messages. I wasn't even interested in sending them a VSL and whatnot. I was just trying to test the message first. So these types of messages, like questions, like simple questions, go way better than a huge question. I'm gonna show you where I have like a direct pitch. And now I'm trying to figure out, starting next week, how can I integrate starting with this, but then having a follow-up where I can make a pitch. That's the next thing that I want to test. And now I have my analytics where you can see so far I've sent 309 messages, 0 Calendly, 0 booked, which is fine. I didn't even expect to go here, to be honest. But I wanted to see, like, okay, these 2 messages are bringing the most responses back. Okay, so the point was starting this video to tell you that You need to be obsessed with data if you want to make your business work. And now I'm looking at the data, and now I can make a decision. All these other messages, right? All these other messages failed. Okay. Now, if I would be a bad business owner, what I would do right now is I would freak out, right? But because I'm a good business owner, I'm looking at these messages and I can start to make some assumptions, some decisions, right? Now let's see if we have something else over here. I have another automation that every day, no, every 7 days, scrapes the latest 3 reels that a user posts, okay? Because I want to keep an eye on my competition. Same thing that happened here. I'm taking all these people from over here and then I scrape them, okay? And then I can see the best performing reels, and then I can see, okay, this guy Owen created this reel, and um, I'm gonna try to understand why it's doing so well. Okay, I have a score property which is calculating their likes, comments, views, and based on that, this guy is the best. Okay, then we have this guy, Andrew. Blah blah blah. Right. The point of this is that now you can look at what your competition is doing and you can try to figure out what you can do to do the same thing, right? You can start building scripts around that, or you can start to make assumptions around creating content for yourself, right? Just by looking at data. Because if you just copy blindly, you won't copy successfully, if that makes sense. And you don't have to copy, but you need to understand. And the best way to understand is by looking at the numbers. And now what I'm doing for one of my clients, I'm building this dashboard for her reels. So basically, every day I want to scrape the last 30 reels because they might get new views, new likes, new comments, etc., etc. Because then I want to figure out, okay, what is the best time to post, right? As we can see, based on her data for the past 68 reels, if I'm not mistaken, the best engagement or the best average views that she has, that's midday, so 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. And then the second best time to post is 11 p.m. till 8 a.m., so at night. Which now gives you an idea about, okay, let's try for the next 30 days to post only at this time, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Now, after those 30 days, you can do a more in-depth analysis, and then you can have a comparison from 11 a.m. till 12 p.m., 12 p.m. till 1 p.m., then 1 p.m. till 2 p.m. You can be super autistic with this, and then you'll see a different split. And this is especially important if you do a lot of volume. So my client, I think she's posting 3 times a day. And because of that, we have access to a lot of data. Okay? And then we can be even more autistic, and then we can split it into like half an hour increments. And then if we do that, then we'll be able to find the exact fucking hour that we can post. And that's gonna bring us more engagement, because we wanna maximize quite literally everything that we do on social media, because if we are business owners, we need to be autistic about this stuff. Okay, again, I'm still building this. I started building it yesterday because I was quite literally bored, and I was trying to see some data, and I'm gonna get even more in depth with this. I want to build something very similar for YouTube. I'm gonna see what I have access to. But yeah, whenever you can find some sort of data to look at, you should do it. I'll give you another example from my previous business. We were scaling quite aggressively with LinkedIn, with YouTube, with YouTube ads as well. And we started assigning scores for each book call that we had. So, for example, the best, like we were looking at the form, what people replied to the form, and if they sounded like they would be a customer, we were assigning a 4, right? If they sounded like this guy is never gonna buy, we're gonna assign a 1, right? So then we had a spectrum from 1 to 4. And we then started tracking the close rate from for each type of score. And then we saw that every time we assigned a 1, we had a 0 close rate. And then everything that was a 3 and a 4 had a close rate of 30% or more. If I am not mistaken, I built my own CRM, right? I need to get into it. I haven't used it in a while, but I think the close rate for the score 4 was anywhere between 50 and 60%, which was fucking nuts. Then we were able to see the close rate between LinkedIn and YouTube, which was also insane. So LinkedIn was 5%, YouTube was 45%. Most number 1 to 2 in terms of scores came from LinkedIn, and most 3 to 4 came from YouTube. Then we looked at the show up rate. Then we were able to figure out that if someone comes from YouTube, we don't need to do a bunch of follow-up with them. We don't need to explain ourselves to them too much. But then if they came from LinkedIn, we then knew that we need to send them more information, more videos from YouTube to make sure that they understand who I am, what I do, how everything works, etc., etc. And that's because we tracked data and we looked at data like maniacs. The more obsessed you are with data, and the more meticulous you are with it, the more money you're gonna make. Because when you start to scale, if you are at, let's say, 5 to 10K a month, everything that you do is pure chaos. And somehow it works, but it doesn't really work that well. You are doing everything in your business, you're editing your videos, you're posting your videos, you're doing the coaching calls, you're doing the sales, like you're all over the place. But there will be a point where you'll say, fuck it, I need to be able to scale past that. And first, you'll need strategy. So someone like me can help you out with that. But then second of all, you'll need people, systems, automations, things of that nature. So you need to start building this, I would say, from now on. So if you're already making money, let's say 5 to 10K per month, already start building systems around what you're doing. It's gonna help you so much, because once you build the systems, and you for sure can build a bunch of systems right now, once you build those systems, you'll automatically free up a bunch of your time. Okay, automatically. Think about your client journey. What happens with the client once he becomes a client? What happens with the client when he finishes your program? Think about that, tracking all your sales calls. Think about, for example, creating an automation where you summarize in one word the biggest problem of your prospect, and then you'll be able to track what is the biggest problem that they mention in the sales call. And now you can make all your content around that little problem. Okay, you need to become super autistic with this, and the more autistic you are when it comes to tracking data, the more money you'll make. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye bye.